Hello, everybody. This is Adriana James, and today with me to answer some of your questions, particularly on the topic of athlete sports performance, is Emma Molenaar. Emma is a master trainer of NLP, but before her life in NLP, in her previous life, Emma was a top athlete herself. And after that, she also worked with young people. She's very familiar with the topic and the application of how do you improve the mindset and the results in sports using NLP and timeline therapy techniques. So, Emma, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here, Adriana.
That's great. So, without any further ado, let's get right into the questions that we received. The first one is very interesting because if you were to think of, and I know it's a lot going on there, but if you were to think of the most important 5 mental skills that are extremely useful for every athlete, and they need this in order to succeed. Can you give me, off the top of your head, a few?
Plenty. I think relating NLP back into the context of sports is, firstly, you need to know what are you focusing on, and actually focusing on the thing that you want, not the thing that you don't want, which is very easily to do. Obviously through the language and the way in which we communicate to ourselves. That's one. Another thing is your best day or your best performance or your best race or whatever it is at any sport that you're in is not dependent on your lucky socks, on the way the wind blows or the music that you heard in the lead up
or the stars.
Okay, or the stars, right? I mean, it's not. That being said, you obviously have a routine that helps, whatever your routine is, and knowing, and I have this conversation very often with my athletes, including parents and other coaches. You have a best performance. We all have had a best performance. Even if you don't do sports, you've had a best performance. You've had a great day, great conversation, great negotiation, whatever that may be. And then you've had something that is not that. That is probably you would consider to be a below average or not good performance. And we've all had those days too. And so really the magic is not in the question, well, why did I do good or why did I not do good? The real question is, yeah, but how did you actually do that really good performance, and how did you do the not so good performance? And so really understanding your personal blueprint, whatever that is, however you do it, that is what you want to try and replicate. And that takes a bit of effort to deconstruct what that is made up of. And it's not your lucky socks, right? That is the additional token, but that's certainly not the basis or the foundation on which it's built. And so asking the right questions that will help deconstruct how you do things in order for you to be able to replicate it time and time again are actually very important, a lot more important than probably it's given credit for. And once you then
say that, you mean how do you do things physically, obviously, in terms of physically, but also I assume is how do you do things inside your head?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How do you do things in emotional state? So on all of these all together, right, as a package.
Yeah. And so there's things, I mean, everything can be broken down into at least 4 things, and we'll leave, a potential 5th one and a 6th one and a 10th one for up in the air. But there's skills, there's processes, and there's mental attitudes. There are at least 3. You have that in any given setting. Mm-hmm. And there is, when all 3 come together, that's really where the magic happens. And that's what the athlete would say, it's the flow state. Or a musician would say, it is like you are just in a positive sense, possessed, right? It just comes out. You don't think about it. It just flows. Hence why it's called the flow state. And that is the interconnectedness of all 3. Now, that also means that you can hack. There's a way in which you can hack and get there a lot quicker than hoping for a good day or, being dependent on a lot of external factors. So understanding how you do, what are the skills that you did really well versus not so well? What are the processes that you followed versus you didn't follow? What are the attitudes that you had versus that you maybe didn't have? Those are key. That also means that when you realize I'm deviating from my blueprint, maybe I need to stop myself now. I need to do something to, rather than derailing completely, how do I get myself back on track? So you want to know, how do I stop an unwanted pattern, but that predisposes that you know what your pattern is to start with. So that's one. Another thing really is, I know it's been mentioned so many times, and it's visualization, and it is portrayed to be so easy, and in a way it is, when you know you're doing it correctly. And therein also lies the problem. Oh, you just visualize, yeah, but there's actually some real fundamental keys to successful visualization versus just playing something that is half-assed in your head. Yeah, exactly.
Right. I absolutely understand what you're saying. There are key techniques here in terms of how to visualize.
Yes.
And the differences may be minor to somebody who is not trained, but all the qualities of the visualization that you're having, starting with the colors and the what type is it the visualization? Am I doing the thing myself, the action in sport, whatever sport they may be, with a racket or with a ball or whatever, right? Or am I seeing myself? Is the picture big and bright? Is it a movie? Is just a still picture? All of those little qualities make an enormous difference.
Absolutely.
In everything we do, not only, but you say it's essential also in sports, right?
Yeah. And I'll be honest, in the lot of years that I've been involved in sports, and I've worked with some very, very great, trainers, psychologists, physiologists, you name it, all of the above. And visualization for me was not deconstructed. It was just visualize. Yeah, but what exactly? And
exactly.
There were some steps that were missing, and I can tell you that they're absolutely crucial.
All right, very cool, very cool.